I mean, the DA, it is currently the best government. South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white. Most of us, black and white, actually originated outside the current borders of South Africa. The DA as a party must demonstrate that it is no longer a white party. It is a party for all South Africans, black and white.
Boom. Wow, guys. So this is a wake-up call for the DA. And I think Helen Zille actually must have listened to this video, because in the last video I shared, when they were trying to address the whole Expropriation Act thing, that initial stage, she came out and opened the floor for DA recruitment. I think she argued in that video, the DA is now open to all of South Africa. I think this would have meant black, Indians, colored, whatever, to come and help, people with skills and the kind of skills the DA needs to grow because of the 2026 elections coming up. And I think probably a part of that wisdom must have come from this podcast. And that's why I think Prince Mashele and this kind of an academic podcast are really important in South Africa to really slowly start helping all parties, because none of the parties is perfect, all right? The DA, if you can hear in this video, Prince Mashele argues the DA actually still has the best governance mechanisms in South Africa, but they still have moral issues that need to be fixed in terms of race and all of that. That ANC has its errors, the EFF, the MK, all of that. And so one of the things that Prince Mashele argues is that the DA actually has a really positive, potential to really save South Africa, really. And it's really important. That's the key, because it might actually be perceived now slowly as a white party. But he argues that, the potential the DA has, in saving South Africa is really huge, especially in the face with all of these policies that, I was listening to Sonia Boshoff yesterday in the SONA debates, and really powerful. I'll be making a video on that. She has a really powerful speech on how, the ANC's policies haven't been, haven't saved South Africa. Most of the policies, they are actually effective, but implementation has actually been the problem. And so Prince Mashele actually argues now that one way the DA could step into that divide and escape from this, what feels like it has been absorbed by the ANC, but in the GNU, is a way to really slowly now learning to open the party to black South Africans, all right? And really show South Africa that this party is a much more racially, ethnically diverse party. We need that intelligence, that multicultural intelligence now that it has moved away from being the opposition in South Africa, but now part of the main government. Prince Mashele is actually arguing. I think I see that insight, because if I was South African today, I think some of the parties I think I might be a member of would be parties of technocrats. You see, people that just get things done and get out. That's the kind of party I would really seek to join. And one of them that comes to my mind would be probably Bosa. Musi Maimane, right? And also then the DA, and maybe I don't know what other party could that be that I see. I don't know if probably the IFP, they actually the position and the centrist anyway. But I wouldn't want to be in a party that is totally left-wing or totally right-wing. I would prefer to be somewhere in the centrist location that has the balance in a way of all the issues South Africa is grappling with, but also really forward-looking in terms of entrepreneurial, what brings jobs into the land and all that. And so the likes of the DA actually seems to be a perfect match for this kind of need that South Africa needs at the moment. And one of the things, especially if you listen to Prince Mashele in this video clearly, that the DA would need to do to really assuage or exclude itself from that moral, limitation that it has been perceived to be a white party that is being controlled by a few whites and all that, would be to slowly start opening up to black, intellectual, if possible, black technocrats. I see there are a few of them. I see the Sivive Guarube, there's this other black guy I usually see there. I like the way he presents his ideas as well. Those are the kind of black people now we need to start seeing in the DA, really embracing the DA, not as a white party. I think the guy who is also in charge of communication or something around providing internet services to the townships and all that. So we need these kinds of people, and I think these are the kind of black people the DA will be able to attract. The black technocrats. We need now the voice of the black technocrats like me, other black technocrats in South Africa, to really come up and start speaking and start really challenging, the efficacy of most of the ideas and the policies that are actually being, argued to the fore. I see Solim Sinangwa as well as one of those guys. But anyway, this is one thing that Prince Mashele believes that the DA will need to do to be able to save itself and also to save South Africa, because the future that I'm seeing South Africa going, really, if it continues this way with a DA that actually have been operating the way it has been. I see many of you in the comments, even white South Africans are beginning to blast the DA, saying that the DA has failed them. And I saw one comment actually arguing that, the UIM boss, you Nel de Bear, should now probably be accruing white votes. If that kind of mentality still resides in South Africa, then this whole problem with race and all that, I don't see it going anywhere. But with the DA and the majority of the votes it has been able to acquire all these years, can slowly now start establishing itself, really watering down that whole white, if there is a white supremacist sort of like mentality, and really open up and show South Africa that this is a party that embraces all ideas, really honest. People smell honesty. Honesty is something that it can be perceived. People can see that. And so if that is really being shown by the DA, I think South Africa has a really, really big possibility for hope, for change, sustainable change. But let's quickly listen to Prince Mashele break down these mechanics really efficiently as he praises the DA as being still the best government, in terms of the municipalities, but also having these small issues in terms of morality and the way that it has to do a change its structure and its character to be able to save South Africa going forward. And share your thoughts in the comments.
What about the moral problems with the DA? I hear you on MK and the EFF, but some would say, well, even though the DA doesn't have the same moral problems, the stance that they've taken on certain issues, or the history of the party and its links, for example, and merging with the National Party at one point in its history, which the ANC also did, by the way, or embraced them. There are also those questions about which you may have heard from the SACP, which cast this as some kind of sellout deal on behalf of the ANC.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, let's face it. The DA has serious moral questions to be answered. Sure. I've said it before, and the DA people don't like it because they don't like the truth. Here is the truth about the DA. The DA is a party of white South Africans. Full stop. And then they respond and say, yeah, but look at the results. Who voted for the DA? Whites are not enough to give us that kind of an outcome.
Yeah, the most diverse party.
It's nonsense. It's complete nonsense. Here is how you assess the character of a party. One, you look at who runs it, right? Yeah. You look at who runs it. Let me give you an analogy. If, for example, we are in a vehicle, you and I and others, right? You are the driver, right? And I'm sitting somewhere in the back seat and my friends, and we're enjoying a good beer and we're drunk, right? The police stop us. They are not going to say this is a party of drunk people because the driver is sound. So the driver matters.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, and we as passengers, we don't actually determine when the car is going. Yeah. We're mere passengers. You as the driver, you are the one who determines where the car is going.
Yeah.
It is your car when you're in control of it. Black people who have voted for the DA are not in control of the DA. The DA is controlled by a small clique of white people who sit in Cape Town. They are the ones who plot the direction of the party, including how to fashion propaganda that will make people believe that the DA is a diverse party. In the first place, if you want to check, go back. When the DA was formed, the white people who formed it didn't invite black people to the room. Remember? There was the DP, there was a federal party, there was the national party, elements of the national party. They did not invite black people when they formed the DA. Why? Because they didn't want black people to be there to spoil their party. So from the beginning, there was no illusion about it that the DA is a white party. So how do we reckon with the DA's inclusion in current politics and future politics? The DA as a party must demonstrate that it is no longer a white party. It is a party for all South Africans, black and white. Once it does that, it would have gotten rid of its moral dilemma, these moral complications we are talking about. So what does that mean? If you want to test my theory, and the DA, if they watch this, go to their headquarters in Cape Town and go look if there are black people there in serious positions. Strategists, those who hold offices in that party, let me tell you, black people are on the margins. If there are black people there, they are probably cleaners, or maybe a secretary or two. But just look, you will see that this is a white party. So the DA has got a task in front of it itself. Open up the party. Let credible, intelligent whites and blacks sit around the same table and run the party together. Then we can talk about who supports you.
Yeah.
That's not happening currently in the DA. But here is the thing. By the way, I believe in the Freedom Charter. Nail my colors. That South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white. I am not more of a South African than a white South African. In any case, by the way, if you look at the history of South Africa, by the way, most of us, black and white, actually originated outside the current borders of South Africa. Most blacks come from Central Africa. My grandfather came from up east in Mozambique, and through migration came here, and my father was born here, and so on. Even white people came here, the same process. So we must acknowledge each other, black and white, that we belong here. But nobody must think that the one is superior to the other. So in other words, the whites in the DA must never think of themselves as superior. They're just like you and I. Until they are courageous enough to be that humble, they will always have a moral cloud hanging upon them. Even the good things that they're doing, by the way, will not be acknowledged, such as good governance in the Western Cape. I mean, the DA, let us not make a mistake. We can get into discussions about Kalisha, this and that. It is currently the best government. If you look at all the municipalities in South Africa, there's no doubt about it.